And thanks for staying with us, everyone. Let's now turn our attention to security matters. The Federal High Court in Abuja has granted a request by the Department of State Services to fast-track the trial of suspected Ansaru commander Khalid al-Banawi and 4 others. Al-Banawi is accused of masterminding the 2011 bombing of the United Nations building in Abuja, which killed over 20 people and injured more than 70. The DSS, represented by senior advocate Alex Zio, presented video evidence to show that the defendant's confessional statements were made voluntarily. The court ruled that the videos be reviewed by all parties, including the registrar, ahead of the next trial session scheduled for October the 23rd and 24th. Al-Banawi and his co-accused face charges of terrorism across several northern states and alleged membership of extremist group Jama'atu Ansaru Muslimina fi Bilad Sudan. He was arrested in April 2016, 5 years after the deadly UN bombing. Now, Victor Giwa, National Coordinator, Advocates for People's Rights and Justice, joins me on the show via Zoom. He joins me from London, United Kingdom. Good to have you join us.
Yeah, good afternoon.
So I thought you were in our Abuja studio. I didn't know that you were chilling in London, Mr. Giwa. Thank you. All right.
Thank you for having me.
Let's talk about this. We've seen arrests being made and prosecution, most especially by the DSS, where, first of all, we saw that of those who attacked Yewata and some communities in Benue and Nasarawa. We also saw the prosecution of those who attacked the church in Owo, Catholic Church in Owo, and now the Ansaru leaders who bombed the UN building. I mean, what do you make of all of this by the DSS?
Well, firstly, the DSS needs to be commended. And when I was coming for this interview, I was speaking with a friend of mine in London who was really commending the directorate of the DSS for such prosecution. And like if you notice, the application made by the lawyers to the DSS Allocation was for the court to facilitate, to speed up, to expedite the trial. So the DSS has shown seriousness in prosecution of these alleged terrorists. The DSS has shown concern. The DSS has shown that they have the capacity. They have shown that they have the understanding, their engagement, and the fact that after the arrest of Khalid al-Banawi in 2016, 5 years after the incident, that they started trial. So the DSS is doing a very good job. The act of prosecuting these terrorists is commendable. And I think we need to encourage the DSS for what they are doing.
And compared to what we used to have before, which used to be a lot of media trial where, suspects will be arrested and you see them on the news and then, when you take them to court, some of those cases are even thrown out. But we see that even now the DSS is asking for, like you mentioned, expedited trial. Is this that we can say, the works of the DSS is now speaking for it? Can we attribute this to maybe the leadership at the helms of affairs at the DSS?
Yes, correct. That's exactly what I'm saying. I believe, like I said, that when we were coming, a friend of mine was discussing about the leadership of the DSS, and he was commenting in a very high language on the directors, the DG, the Director General. Sorry, and he was commenting on the Director General of the DSS on the job he's doing and the fact that the director is putting every effort, is ensuring that there is no abuse of human rights, that those who are arrested are brought to book. He wants to ensure that people can see for themselves that the DSS is not there to return persons, subject them to court. And so if the court finds them not guilty, they will be released. If the court finds them guilty, of course, they will face the law. So I think that the activities of the DSS is commendable. I think the DSS should be praised. I think they should be supported. Nigerians should give and commit all form of support to the DSS for the job they are doing. And I want to personally accord the DSS good appraisal for what they are doing and what they are, and what they will continue to do. Because from what we have seen so far, the DSS have shown that they are ready for this job, unlike what we have seen before, that all what we've been seeing is media trial. But we've seen DSS making some very, very serious arrests, and this prosecution now is a plus to them. We've seen reports of DSS arresting the terrorists, the people that mastermind the attack in Benue State and in Plateau State quietly. And I think this is what should be encouraged from organizations like the DSS.
Mr. Giwa, I noticed that whilst we were speaking, it's like your device did move. It sort of changed or distorted the settings of your settings of your framing. If you can just help us readjust that, we can barely see your face now. Just to give yourself, maybe tilt your devices. Is it upward or downward, just to give yourself more headroom? All right, you've done it. Thank you so much. All right, so as we continue the conversation, how would you also rate the interagency collaboration we're seeing now? Is it better than before? Is it just the same? Because, I mean, if you remember very clearly, in previous administrations, what we heard was, there was a lot of bickering that we even saw as much as, agencies who have different functions. Having, for example, we saw the was it DSS and Customs, or was it EFCC and Customs that had issues at some point? And these were some of the issues that we saw. Sometimes you see the military and the police officers having issues. But what do you make now of the interagency collaboration?
Thank you very much. That was a very good point. Thank you very much. That was a very good point. Now, what we have seen now is some level of collaboration between sister security agencies. If you could remember, there was this media clip that went viral where the DSS director was making comments about the Major General Chris, who that's the minister for the Chief of Defense Staff, Christopher Musa. He was talking about how he invited him for a program and how Major General Christopher Musa attempted to go to a program in Canada, and their visas he was refused visa. And the DSS director was making a joke out of it that he had invited Major General Christopher Musa for a program, but he opted to go to Canada, and they made the Canadian embassy to refuse his visa. If you look at that video clip, that social media clip that went viral, you will see the body language. You will see that the sense of collaboration. You will see the sense of togetherness. You will see the sense of having the same focus. So there is an improvement from what we had before, where there were rivalry between the security agencies, the EFCC against the DSS against the police, shooting by the army against the police and all of that. That has to some extent reduced. But specifically by the DSS have shown leadership. The DSS have shown coordination. They have shown direction. And this is what we need to fight against terrorism and internal security. You could see in countries, in advanced countries like the US, the killer of Christy Kirkland, that was shot some few days ago, was arrested in a few days. This is exactly what we expect, that when persons, dissidents who go against the law, they are short of arrest by our intelligence agencies such as DSS, and that the other operational agencies can collaborate with these intelligence agencies, get these culprits arrested, and not just arresting them, you take them to court, let them have their time in court, and here the court decides what their fate is. So Tomo for the DSS, the collaboration is there, and I think that is what we need in this fight against terrorism.
And interesting, you mentioned Charlie Kirk, who was killed in the US, and then the arrest of his killer. And that was possible because a family member turned him in, not even necessarily because the FBI was still looking for him, local police was still looking for him, but a family member, turned him in. And you mentioned earlier about support. And Nigerians need to support the DSS and our security agencies. But when you also look at the past antecedents, maybe not under this current leadership, but the past antecedents and people's experience with these security agencies, sometimes it makes it difficult for them to want to support. So how should they begin to drive that support, from Nigerians to ensure that, look, if there is someone has done something and you know where this person lives, you be the one to volunteer that information, because again, that's local intelligence, that they can get local intelligence from, residents of communities.
Yeah, you see, that's right. But the point is that in the case of Christy Kixon, the reason why the family bought gave up their word is because they were very sure that their word cannot escape from the eye of the law. So they are sure that he will be arrested. You saw the same thing happens to the killer of the health CEO some months back, because he was detected. The young man was in McDonald's when one of the cleaners saw him and said, "No, your face is everywhere in the media. This should be the suspect." And they called the police. So the point we are making is that when security agencies are serious with their business, even the people will be very optimistic. They will want to volunteer their support. But when security agencies are seen not to be serious, they are seen to be disconnected, they are seen to be, to be disorganized, nobody will want to support such agency. Nobody will want to give support to such agency. So what the DSS is doing right now is they have been able to build confidence within. They are building confidence. I will not say they built, but they are building. So in the architecture of security, confidence building is very key. When the security agencies show that they are serious, when they show that they are dispassionate, when they show that they are not corrupt, when they show that they can be dependable, the people will give them support. So people are able to give security agencies support in other crimes because they have confidence in the system, because the believability on the security agency is very high. So what the DSS is doing right now is capable of showing up the confidence of the people on the agency, such that people can now say, okay, I have confidence in this agency. I can volunteer information. We can give them our support. So security agencies should be able to build confidence on the people, so that the people can, because security business is everybody's business. So when the people lose confidence in the security agencies, they will not be able to give support. And there will be an increase in the crime rate. You will see people committing crime and they will go unarrested. They will go undetected. But when security agencies, like what the DSS is doing, they show that, look, we are serious, we are dispassionate, we are not corrupt, we are people friendly, we are people centric, we are going against the terrorists and not the citizens. We are not going to abuse your rights. You are guaranteed that when you are caught, we will subject you to the rule of law. The people will gain confidence, they'll be able to volunteer information, and this country and the society will be safe for it. So that is what is expected of security agencies. They need to show that, yes, they're doing their job within the law. They need to show that even when you are respected, when you are arrested, there is a presumption of innocence. You are not tortured, you are not tormented, you are not oppressed. You are given your rights as a suspect, as granted by the Constitution, until the court finds you guilty. So I think that what the DSS is doing right now is capable of gaining the confidence of the people, and in return, the people can show support for the security agency.
And Mr. Giwa, how important is it that we also, again, because now the DSS is asking for expedited trial, that, we have these trials really expedited. These men, or these terrorists rather, suspected terrorists were arrested in 2016, and this is 2025. That's 9 years after. And people move on from these cases and think that nothing was done. And so it also creates that impression of selective justice, even though work is actually going on the ground. So how important is it that we ensure that, when these terrorists or suspected terrorists are arrested, that, we hasten the trial so people see and know that something is being done?
Yeah, thank you. Good question. Now, the fact is that sometimes when these persons are arrested, there is always a need to do a diligent investigation. There's need to go through the facts, information gathering, facts gathering, putting up the witnesses, putting the facts together, getting your document together so that you can present those facts before the court to ensure that there is conviction. So sometimes investigation takes time, but I am not justifying the long delay in taking them to court, because sometimes what we have seen is that DSS, and I need to say that because we have had cases where the Nigeria Bar Association had to interface with the DSS to release some persons who were arrested over 5 years ago without trial. We saw one lawyer who was arrested sometimes ago in the East in the allegation that he belongs to the organization called the IPOB, you know. So the guy was there. He didn't see his family. He didn't see. He was not allowed to see his lawyer for over 4 years. It was the intervention of the NBA that made, the DSS to release, that young man. That is condemnable. That should not be seen. By this time, we shouldn't be seeing people who are arrested for a very long time without trial. But the point we are making is this: that the DSS should ensure that while they are going about their job, the case of this particular suspect right now, who were arrested on 2016, and now of course their trial actually started in the same 2016. But what the DSS have done right now by this application is to ask for expedited trial. They want the trial to be expeditious so that the suspect can know their fate. So what I'm encouraging as a lawyer, I know what it takes to investigate. I know the process of investigation, putting your facts together, and sometimes the bureaucracy in some of these agencies. I think the agencies should reduce the bureaucracy. They should always get their facts ready. They should make sure that the investigation is proper, so that, like you mentioned, we don't see a media trial. We see trial that is based on facts. So at the court, you don't need to be going on an adjournment for a very long time, because sometimes when trial is delayed, it also weakens the process, because witnesses would have lost their memory. Some of them would have died. Some facts would have been missing. So at the end of the day, they will not be able to secure conviction. Sometimes we say delay, if justice delayed, is justice denied. So it's always encouraging that security agencies, once they have arrested their suspects, they should not waste time. The law provides not less than 48 hours for you to send them to court. So investigation is very key for security agencies, that before you make an arrest, you should have done your due diligence, gotten your facts, and so that when the person is arrested, you will not spend much time but to send the person to court. And that is what we believe that security agencies like DSS should do to ensure that justice is not just seen to be, justice is not just done, justice should be seen to be done.
I guess it is then a lot of work for the DSS to try to find the balance between accurate or good investigation and then, timely justice. It is a lot. We'll see how they balance that act. You have commended the leadership. We'll continue to monitor the activities. Thank you so much for your time. The National Coordinator advocates for people's rights and justice, Victor Giwa. Pleasure to have you on.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, that's Standpoint this week. Remember, you can watch the repeat broadcast at 11 p.m. tonight and 5 a.m. on Sunday morning. Thanks for watching. I am Precious Amani.